Hello and welcome to my channel. It's Sally here. Thank you for joining me. And today we're going to be talking needle books. So as you can see, I've got a little collection going on here. I love making needle books. They're just something to, they're so easy to make, and it's lovely to just sit and stitch and pass the time on the pages. So I just wanted to show you a few of the ones that I've recently made. Well, not recently, this one's quite old actually. Just with pieces of vintage quilt and little doilies to make pockets, and this one's a really simple one. It's just got my little bee stamp on there, got a little pocket in the back there, just pretty fabrics, and I've used my vintage typewriter to write buttons and bits, needles and pins, just a little hexie that wasn't being used, a little doily, an old button, and a Suffolk puff. That's not a vintage Suffolk puff, that's one that I've made, although it's made with vintage fabric. So that's one of them, and it's just got a little tie here. It's got a little bit of silk sari ribbon with a little wooden bead on, and that's how it ties on that one. That's that one. I've got a couple more here. This one here is tied with a piece of lace or embroidery on glaze, isn't it, the trim. A lovely piece of vintage quilt again. Kept quite simple this time. We've just got a Suffolk puff that joins it all together, and just a little bit of old linen just here that I had. Just save all your scraps, because you never know when a little piece like that will just come in handy, just to give it a little bit of adornment and make it look pretty. So inside this one I've got a lovely this fabric, this quilt here, I've actually lined the quilt because I think it was just plain, so I wanted something patterned, so I've used a lovely French floral here with an old doily as a pocket, and just trimmed it with some edging. And then this is an old vintage doily, little trimmed the edge because I cut it. It was a raw edge, so I've just gone over and just over both sides. Oh, actually, I've gone and lined it actually, and then folded it over just there. And then that's got a lovely little pocket. My lovely flowers on my felt. This is just a woolen blanket, and it's got a blanket stitch going all the way around as well. And this one here, another little pocket. This is a piece of damask, an old damask tablecloth that I have, and just little bits of trims and doilies. A little bit of, this is a French fabric as well. Little pocket made out of a doily, again just with sewn on. I think I've sewn it on, and then I've just adorned it with some cross stitch, and left that loose there to use this one. Another little doily there. This is actually, it was white trim, and I used my Inktense pencils to dye it that blue colour. Just sort of adorned it with some crosses all the way along. Another, see, this is the side of this one, so that went all the way across. Had a little bow on a doily which I'd cut up, so use that there. Little doily there, that was gifted to me by my lovely friend Christy from So Bits Christy. And then just a little bit of adornment there, just an old vintage Suffolk puff, a little pansy, and a little piece of lovely fabric, old vintage fabric. And again, this is the other side to this, with this beautiful, Christy might have given me this as well. I'm not quite sure where this came from. I might have got this from Christy as well. She gifted me this. So there's that as well. And then this side here is another pocket this way, from an old vintage doily. And actually that there, that trim, I might have wrapped it all the way around actually. I think me thinking it's an actual little strip, it's not. What I've done is, because the length was too long, I've gone and wrapped it over. That's what I've done on that one. So that's that one. I won't tie that back up. And I've got this one here, which is tied together with a piece of vintage lace. And this is not a quilt this time. What I thought I would do is get some fabric and quilt it myself. So that's what this is. This is just an old piece of vintage fabric and a little doily. I'll just go a little quicker now. Little doily there. My flowers again on the lovely blanket. Little pocket there. These little violets along here. That lovely decoration. Nothing, you know, nothing useful there, but it just looks pretty. You don't have to have everything useful. That's there's just a slipping pocket there. A little pocket there, lovely little flowers. I love that against the green. I think it looks beautiful. And this is all embroidered doily that was already there. Little pocket, and again I've just gone overlapped the fabric on the edge of the raw edge, and on that one too. Little doily embroidered bit, and there. And what I've done is I've sewn this on, but I've been quite light with my stitches, so it hasn't gone all the way through, but there probably is some that have gone through. That's probably why I've put that on as well, but you can't really see my stitching through it. And then there's a little pocket there. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is a little embroidery book or needle book. And I did a class a couple of weeks ago, and we made this one here. Now this is only part finished, because I left it unsewn so that I could show everyone at the class, at the workshop, how it was all put together and everything, and we could all look at the pages one by one. So that hasn't actually been sewn together yet, so I'm going to show you how I sew my books together. It's really simple. It's just a running stitch or a back stitch across the centre. So this is the one we're going to be making today, and I have got some, because I've already done my class, I can now show you everything that goes with it, and also this is kind of where I got to in the class myself, because we didn't get to finish everything. So what happens is there's quite a lot to do in the 4 hours, so we kind of go through as much as we can, and then everyone takes photos and takes loads of linens home with them so that they can finish it at home, so which is the preference for everybody that comes to the class. They want something that they can take home, as well as you know, just not just do the class and 4 hours it's over. They like to go home and, you know, carry on for a few weeks. So that's the idea of these projects. So I also want to say that I have got 8 kits that I've put together as well, and they are, once this video is released, they will be available on my Instagram, but it will be UK only. I'm really sorry because of the postage and everything. There will be UK only, and I'll just show you what you get in the kit, just in case you want to know. So you get the piece of vintage quilt that we use, and it's already cut for you. You can trim it down a bit, and you may need to just trim just to make it straight if you want it straight. I don't mind too much, but that's up to you. And inside that, then you get the piece of blanket. You get a piece of damask, which will fit in as well. These are all different sizes, so, and even that there, the kind of, I love that how it slopes. You can refold it and make sure it is straight if you want it straight. I love how it all is all different. And you'll get a vintage handkerchief as well. They are all different, they won't be the same as this one. This one is for sale, but I can't say which one you'll get because they're all different, but they're all pretty. You'll get a piece of vintage, I've got them here actually. All these are what we're using for pockets. They're all different, so it just depends on which kit I pick out for you. There's no preference or anything like that. And then this is for the little pocket inside here. This one here is a straight one. I've got this one here. Let me just show you this one here. This one's one that's kind of angled, and that's what I was thinking for these, kind of like that. So, but it's up to you how you do your pocket as well. So there's that. We'll have to put that back, haven't I? So yes, there's going to be a piece of lacy doily on that. You will also get a little, it goes that way. Also get a little embroidery that, where's the embroidery on this one? There we go, like that. Which will just get cut out. You need to just fuzzy cut around it and then sew it out like that one. You get some peachy lace, which goes with the peachy cover. That's for the wrap that goes around. You'll also get one of those, which makes a little pocket, which I'll show you in a bit. You'll get 2 vintage Suffolk puffs, one patterned, one plain. One's to adorn the page, and one's to actually put on the back to, not that back, but that back, to put on as you trim, you know, your fastener. So what will happen is, whichever one you use, it'll go like that, and like that, and then you'll sew it on, and that'll be your fastener. So there's that, and I think that I'll also throw in some fabrics as well, some little snippets of fabrics. I've got, where's my little tin? I've got a tin here that I'm going to be using today with all little snippets in, and I will put you a handful of little snippets in as well, to help you on your way. So that's the kit that's going to be on sale on my Instagram later. So let's start with how we're going to do the first page. So the first page is the quilt piece. So I've got a couple here that I've already started. So I'm going to just grab grab one that's unfinished and show you what I do. So this is the piece. As you can see, it's just a little bit different in size. That piece there is probably just a little bit skew-if, so you don't have to, but I'm just going to cut it a little bit. Like that. Okay, I've just got a little bit there that needs snipping off as well. Right, so we're going to do some pockets first of all. So I'm going to go grab my scraps, which are here. I've got this tin and I've got a box below near my feet because we've got so many scraps. I'm just going to see, kind of want a piece that's pocket size. What's that there? Not quite pocket size, is it? Right, I think they're too small. I'm just going to go and grab my bigger scraps, which are, oops, here. I'm not going to put it on my desk because it's too big. Got that, it's a little bit too small. That's something that Christy left with me for the workshop. So I'm going to use a little piece of this. It's a mint green and it kind of goes with the peach. I love the peach and mint green together. So I'm just going to measure my pocket. I'm not going to be too precise at all. So it's going to be somewhere there. So I'll just take that off. And then I'll just need to, I'm feeling like my throat is going a little bit croaky, so I do apologise. Don't know why. Like that. Put it that way. So I like that edge there. Although I'm going to put a little bit of trim. Right, so just using some pins, which have disappeared. I've got some little applique pins, so I use those. I don't know where my big pins have gone. They're probably in another project at the moment. I've got so many projects on the go. I've got my my journaling head on at the minute, and I've had to stop because I was getting so absorbed in it that nothing else was happening. So put it to one side, Sally, and do this because it's just been on my mind for a while that I want to show you this. I also will be showing you the junk journaling, but that's for another day. Also, I know there's something I would have forgotten. I am going to provide you with, I'm just trying to find it, the embroidery anglaise. It's just disappeared. Just bear with me 1 second. Where would it be? I don't know. There we go, found it. So we've got some of that there. Right, so in the kit will also be a length of this as well to use. So I'm just going to trim that off. I'll put that to one side so that I can pop that in the kits as well. As I'm going along, I'll probably add other things to the kits. I don't know why I've pinned it, actually. I'm getting too over enthusiastic, so I need to sew this on first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew it on like that. Let me grab my needle. Everything's done by hand. I'm not, and this is just a plain white bottom. I'm trying to think of the last time I used my sewing machine, and it's absolutely years ago. I can't remember. I think it was when, even then, I think it was to do something slow stitchy. It was to embroider some words. So here I'm just going to go along with the back stitch. Did you see where I folded that? What I did was I just folded it like that. Then if you finger press it down, you can actually see the line that you need to sew along, so you don't need to draw anything. And it doesn't have to be perfect. This is far from perfect. It's a little bit wonky, but never mind. I suppose you could do a running stitch here. I don't think it's going to really matter. So how are you all today? Anyway, I hope you're all well, finding time to stitch. Like I say, I've been immersed in junk journaling and stuff, and I've also been immersed in my my love letters from my children quilt as well, because I've been trying to finish that. It's taking rather longer than I thought, but I don't want to skimp on it. I want to, you know, look at it and not think, oh, I should have done that there and I should have done that there. So it's taking longer than I thought, and I'm just going to slow that right down and just do it as and when. But what happens is, when I get into a project, I kind of like want to just keep going with it, and so I suppose that's why I've not done because I don't think I've done a video for over a week, because I've been doing that and also some junk journaling as well, and I need to get back to actually doing some little projects. Right, so that is that. Okay, it's going to go like that, like that. As you can see, I've kind of not done that level that much, but it doesn't really matter too much because it is about the same size as the quilt piece. So I'm just going to do that, just measure it up again, just offer it up, and that's going to be okay. Now we can pin it down. Okay, so leave that there for a moment while I concentrate on the pocket. So I'm going to do a pocket on this side. So I am just going to grab one of the pieces here, and this is going to be a sliding pocket. If you've got one of these, then you'd probably want to do a pocket. In fact, that one is not, that one's too short. I won't be giving that one out. But I've got this one here, so this one will be like that. And then you could always turn that over like that if you wanted a straight edge, or just leave it like that, which was what I would do. I don't want that at the bottom. I think I want it at the bottom, like that. And then you just trim, if you just place it where you want it, turn it over, and then that's where you trim, just there and there. This one here, I would go right up to that edge there, turn it over, and then just trim along there, and maybe just a little bit off there, like that. Just, that's going to go right into the middle. I don't think it's going to matter though too much. What other stuff I've got? Let me just show you this one here. I've got this one here, this one again. These have got stainage on them, but they are all washed and laundered. It's just they're really old. So that one there, you'd have a little pocket like that. But you don't have to. You could turn it over and you could just have a straight pocket like that. So there's lots and lots of possibilities. You might even have doilies of your own that you want to use instead. You may not even want a pocket here, or you might want to just use some fabric. So I'm going to use this one. And I'm just going to pin it into place. And then I'm just going to look at it over on the other side. Just needs a little trim, so I'm just going to take that off there. Like that. There we go. Might just need a little bit more of this. There. Like that. Okay. Next, I'm going to get, I've chosen 3 colours here because of this, the quilt piece. I just thought going a little bit brighter, so they're kind of got an orangey, yellow and a green as well, just because I like those three together. And I just thought, I know that's not that green or anything, but I'm just going to go with those bright ones. I just wanted something bright, really. So like this one here, started in orange. It looks really good on the outside as well, and that's just a whip stitch or a straight stitch over the top. Might need I'm going to use all 6 strands, so you might need a thicker needle. This is a chenille number 22. When you come to my class, I always give you 2 needles, a thick one, which is the chenille 22, and I give you a number 5 cotton darner, which is the thinner one. It's got quite a large eye. I like this one because it's got a large eye. It's got a bigger eye than the milliner's needles, but it's a straight needle, so I like those. Right, so what we're going to do is go around the edge now. So you just want to tuck in your thread behind your pocket like that, so you can't see it, and then you can do a blanket stitch here if you wanted to. Try not to knot it straight away. How's that happened? You might hear a buzzing. There's a fly flying around. It's a hot day here today, and I've got all the doors open. So all I'm going to do is go all the way around. I'm not going to do all this on camera because you can just see it's quite self-explanatory, but go all the way around and it just looks like that on the other side, and then it ends up like this. What you do is you just go all the way around, sew where you need. Obviously you'll only sew up to there and a little bit of that, and then you'll leave that free, and then you'll just come onto here and just do that along there, and it ends up like this, or like this one here. This one here, you see, this one had it was a similar type thing to this, and so what I did was I pulled that over and then just sewed that bit in like that to make a little pocket. Okay, so that's all you do on those, and that's done. Okay, what I also did was on this one here, I had a little piece left over. You may have a little piece left over which you could snip at. You might have a little piece of lace at home and just pop it on. And again, what you need to do is when you're doing that, just be careful. Let me just find a needle. Just don't go all the way through, because it's a quilt. You should be able to just put your fingers behind it, even though there's a pocket on this, so it doesn't really matter too much. So what I would do is I would go into the pocket first of all, so hide my knot in my pocket, and then just put my fingers behind it and just do a whip stitch all the way around. I've done this in white, but this one here is actually done, I don't know whether you can see it or not, it's done in 2 strands of yellow cotton, if you wanted to actually make a feature of it. And it just adds a little bit of interest. And you do this again the same with your Suffolk puff that you're going to be putting on, which I will show you in a second. So just go all the way around like that. I'm not going to do it all now, but that's what we're going to do there. And then to put your tie, let me just grab some of this lace. So I think you have about 1 metre of this lace. It's approximately 1 metre long, and so there's plenty to use as a tie. You won't need a 1 metre long tie. You could snip some off and you could put some of that, you know, on the edge of a pocket, on the edge of your, where's that one? You could even put it on the edge of that. There's so many different, ways you can use the kit. You don't have to do it as I've done it. You can add your own and put that way. And I need the Suffolk puff. I've gone and lost them. We just grab another one. There we go. I'm sorry if I've just jolted you. Right, I'm going to use the plain one for this, and then I'm going to use the decorative one inside. Again, what colour shall I use? I'm going to use that. So just take some more of that this time. I'm not going to use 6 strands though. I'm just going to use 2. So I've got 2 strands there. Two strands should go through my thinner needle. Like that. Just going to made a mess of it. I don't know what I've done here. It's all, I just don't want it to knot. I'm just trying to, oh, it's come unthreaded. Let's start again. Not sure what happened there. Right, there we go. Okie dokie. Right. So I'm just going to position this, just eyeballing it in the centre, and that will go there. You can pin it. Let's pin it just to be on the safe side. I should go find my bigger pins because these are a little bit fiddly. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. Yeah, that looks okay. So because I haven't got a pocket on this side to hide my thread, I'm going to be very careful, and I'm just going to go in here to hide my knot. And put my hand underneath, so what will happen is I will be able to tell if my needle comes through all of my fabric. And again, it's just a whip stitch all the way around, but just catching the top part of the quilt. And then when you get to the lace, just go over the lace and catch it in. Just take that out now. Okay, nearly done. I don't know quite why. Some threads do, it might be because it's a cheaper thread. I do have a, it's a bit dusty actually, I don't use it that often. I do have a beeswax stick, and if you just go along lightly, it should just wax your thread and it should make it easier to sew. I'm still in 2 minds whether it does or not. Oh, that seems to be okay. Seems to be, doesn't it? Yeah, it did work. take that pin out. Yep, I've gone all the way through, so I'm just going to do a couple of little stitches here. And then feed it through. There, just pull it tight a little bit, and then I'll just go in. There's your fastener. You've got your little bit of lace, and then once everything's in there, you can then. So it's probably a little bit too long actually. Tie your bow. Although don't forget, you're going to have more pages in there, so I'll leave that for now, but that's, you covered them. So let's move on to the next page, which is the felt piece. So again, we're going to go all the way around just with a whip stitch in a contrasting colour. So this time I've used the yellow for this one. It's not that yellow, I think it's a little bit lighter yellow than that, and that's a dark. I suppose it might be that actually. That's the darker orange that I've used for that, but you can use whatever colours you want. This was in the class, so this was what I had on hand in the class. So I'm going to start with my flowers. So I'm going to get a fresh piece of felt. I'm just going to measure it against my, some of them might be a little bit, that's about right. I could just see that edge is tipping up a little bit. I don't mind a little bit of unevenness, but that edge was just tipping up slightly. So I do that. Yeah, that's lovely. Okay, so that's my piece of not felt, blanket, wool blanket. So they're all different sizes. Look at that one, that's a different size, but that fits a different size quilt. Most of the ones that I'm selling are kind of like the same size as this one that I'm using at the moment. But I just did a bit of practice on a smaller piece of felt, but it doesn't really matter if that was the size that you were doing. You can have them a bit smaller, because what happens is when you fold them up, they do pop out a little bit. So, you know, just depends on your preference really. So I've done a couple of these already. This is the one that I did in the class, and it's just 3 kind of daisies. You can do them as big or as small as you like. I do them randomly, so it just depends on how how I feel at the time. So what I usually do is with my felt, I just do 3 random circles, and you don't need to cut them, you don't need to draw around anything, but you can do if you want. I like them a little bit uneven. So look, I mean, you say circle, but it's not really a circle, but you could use something like that if you wanted all the same size. So I like them to touch. So there's one there, and then there's one there. I'm using pencil. You can use a friction pen, but I just use pencil because I go over the lines and you can't really see them. So that's going to be my 3 daisies, and then you can also draw a smaller circle inside, because that's going to be where your French knots are going. This one is obviously a little bit smaller than that one, but like I say, they're all, because I draw them like this, they all end up different sizes, and that's how I like them. I like them all to be unique. Let me just put my pins away. Okay, so I am going to start with my orange, and because I've got these 3 colours, these are what I'm going to use for my flowers. So that's going to be my flower colours. But you can use whatever you like. You're going to use quite a bit because you're going to use all 6 strands again, and I'm just going to try and find that needle I've left threaded somewhere. I have an eye on a different one. Yeah, it's there. I'm just going to grab my needle. So I'm using my thicker needle again, because it's all 6 strands. And I'm just going to snip this off. When I do these, I love the backs of them. So then they're never hidden on my my finished product, my finished ones. I'm just trying to find where I've put the other ones that I've done. Yeah, look, I just love how it looks, so I don't mind seeing it at all on the back side of my work. So, and I'm doing mine all the same colour, but you can do yours different colours if you wanted 3 different ones. The ladies in my workshop they did lots of different variations. They were beautiful. And then it's just a daisy stitch, a lazy daisy stitch. So you just come up in the centre, and then you go back down in the centre, and then out to the side, hook that over, pull it, and then just leave a little dash for the end. You just do that all the way around. So you come up in the centre, go back down as near to your first stitch, up to the edge. I just go a little bit over just so that you can't see the the pencil mark, and then tie it down. And it can look a little bit messy at first. You just have to trust in the process with this one, because it will turn out lovely. Doesn't matter if your petals are a little bit wonky or a little bit a different size. It flies back, I can hear it buzzing around. So I'm not going to go all the way around on this one. Just going to leave it there. And then for the inside, we're doing French knots. So again, with all 6, I want this flower to be chunky. I love the effect that the 6 strands make on this. So I'm just making sure my knot's nice and tidy, because you will see it on the back, so you don't want really long strings or anything, but that's how it's looking on the back. And then what you're going to do is, I like to do the centre first and then start working my way out. I'm just going to grab that to one side because I don't want it to get it tangled up. And then your French knot is just 1, 2 wraps around, back down, and then I like to hold it in place with my thumb. And then start working around the edges. So it's just up. Hold your needle in one hand, wrap it round with the other, back down, hold it in place. Sometimes you might have to give it a wiggle. And you're just filling in all your gaps. I think I've got a little bit of thread caught up in that, yeah. wouldn't usually do this until after I'd got all my stitches for my daisy petals in. I just wanted to show you how to do it. So that's how you do it, and just carry on. I'd carry on over there, but I'm just going to leave that just because I want to do my daisy petals first. I'm going to just leave that in like that, and then I'm going to start on my green leaves. So the green leaves are, again, 6 strands, and they're a variation on a fly stitch. So it's the same principle as a fly stitch, but they're kind of all smushed together. So again, I don't bother drawing them, but this is kind of where I want my petal to go. Let me just show you an example. There, so I want one there, and one there. So in each of the 3 little bits where the flowers join. So this is going to be my first one, and I'm going to start at the top of my leaf, which is about here. You can draw it if you wanted to draw it. And I'm just going to draw 1 stitch. And then I'm going to start with the fly stitch. So that's like the if you imagine a fly stitch up here, that's the tail of the fly stitch. And then you're going to start here on the new one. So we start on this side here, go over to that side, you're going to come up at the base of your first stitch, and you're making that Y shape. But you're not going to do a tail, you're just going to do a little stitch. Okay? So it's like a Y with a short tail. Back on either side like that. Up where your last stitch was. I've gone and caught. I'm just going to undo that because I've just gone and caught. You wouldn't be doing this. You wouldn't have all these threads on the go. In fact, let me just snip that off. Because you'd have finished those already. That's it. So, like that. And a tiny little stitch. Back on either side. That side. To that side. Then up there. In. That side. That side. It makes a lovely little vein down the, can you see that, down the leaf. You just keep going until you're happy with the size of your leaf. Don't worry that you're close to this flower. Just keep going. I think I'm going to leave it there because I've got this flower here to do. So I'm just going to go up there. And that will be fine. Pop that off. And there's your little leaf. So that's what you do there, and then do the same again to this flower and this flower, and the same to the leaves. So that's that one done. And then I'm going to grab this because I've already started this already. What I've done is, so that's how you will look at your page, like that. That will be on there, that will be on there, then you'll have another couple of pages inside, and then I've got this on here. So this is just a Suffolk puff. You'll get another patterned Suffolk puff with your kit if you were to order a kit. This is, I'm just looking, this is 3 strands of this one. I just left off. In trouble threading. Oh, that's gone through. Okay, so this is like a variegated mint green on this side, so you can see I have started to stitch and you can see my stitches. I'm not sure whether that was intentional or not. I don't mind it. Look okay actually. Yeah, so I'm going to keep on with that, and it's just tiny little stitches all the way around. But if you didn't want to see your stitches, then again the wool is thick enough that you can go through it without being seen underneath. Or you can put your stitches on, and if you don't like them you can always pop another piece of fabric over the top. So many different possibilities. So that was just sewn on like that one there. You see, I haven't, although I can see a couple of my stitches, but you can hardly see them at all. So that's what you do with that. You just go round in a contrasting, or you can just go around in a cream or white. It's up to you. And that's your felt page done, or your wool page done. So I'm just having a look where I've got so many strands of thread. So that's page number, I guess that way around, page number 2. So when you open it up, that's what you'll get. And then we've got some more to put in here. So the next page is a hanky. So where's the hanky that I was using? Right, I lost, no I haven't, it's here. Here's the hanky that I was using. So this is just a random hanky. There's all various ones in the kits, but you can just use any little pretty hanky. They are approximately the right size, so you might have a little bit of, they might come out a little bit, but a little pop of turquoise is okay, I think, on that one. So I'm fine with that. And I have started to stitch on my little posy. So you'll get one of these in the kit, and because this is a pocket, you won't actually see my stitches behind it. So I have just started to pop that on there, and this is again in this variegated turquoise. I've obviously used because of the turquoise hanky. That's not all. Okay, so you don't have to be that precise because you're not going to see my stitches. And again, this is just a whip stitch all the way around. And I'm using all 6 strands as well, though you don't have to. Okay, that's done. Can't really see much of the turquoise because it's all of the white. It's not had a chance to move on to a different colour, but never mind. So I'm just going to do a couple of little stitches to little knots to hold that in, like that. Okay. And we're going to have a little pocket here. Okay, so to sew up my pockets, I might as well use that I've already got on my needle. And what you're going to do is, again, I'm just going to hide my knot into the corner of my pocket. And sew up both sides, and this again, just you can do a blanket stitch if you wanted to, but I just like the simpleness of the whip stitch. Because this is quite a delicate fabric, you just have to be a little bit careful with not pulling on it too much. In fact, probably didn't need 6 strands because it's so thin, but right, so I'm not going to do any more to that. I will do the rest off camera. So you can get the gist of it, can't you? Then just go up to the top, and then I would just kind of feed it through a little bit and then finish off just down a little bit so you can't see my knot. So there's that one to do. And then the final one is the piece of damask. So I've got an example here. I'm just going to grab my piece of fabric. There we go. It's just like that, approximately the same size. I'm just going to put a little fold in to make a pocket. So you can do it as big or as small as you like, your pocket. I'm going to do it about there. Okay. And because this has got quite a few raw edges and you can see how they fray, I'm going to pop some fabric over the top of them. So I'm just going to grab a couple to start with. So I've got this one here. These are just offcuts a little bit. So I'm just going to straighten this out a little bit and pop it over, just straighten that edge. Just folding it in half, popping it on, grab my pins. So it's about an inch, probably not quite an inch, 2 centimetres. Just different fabrics. Like that. Let's just grab some more. Just take that out a moment. I might need a trim. You see how it goes down like that? I'm just going to give that a little bit of a trim. So I'm not giving them much thought about, just colours that go nice and pretty and lovely together. What else have we got? Just grab this box here. Too picky, otherwise you can be here all day choosing fabrics. So I've got this pretty one here, florally. I'm just going to put that on. Just overlap them slightly. I can chop that bit off in a moment. There, yep, quite happy with that. So let's just chop that off there, like so. And then we just need a colour. I'm going to use the yellow, but I'm not going to use all of them. Oh, hang on, what have I got here? Yeah, I've got that. I'm not sure where my needle went. Found another one. Okay, little knot. Tidy my knot up. Just because you may see it, I'm not sure. Right. Okay, and then all we're going to do is just a running stitch along the top. And do, what's that one? This one's got 5 on it. Do 4 or 5. This one might just need 4, I'm not sure. Can you hear that fly? It's very noisy. I'm not going to take my pins out yet because just in case I've not caught the top of the fabric. So I'm just going to go up and down, up and down. I'm not going to be too bothered about my stitch that you can see as I change direction. Got to go there and then there. And then start on the other way. And I should be able to take my pins out then. So I know for sure that I'm just going to get rid of that thread. Have I gone and caught? I've gone and done something. Oh, I don't know what I've done. Let's just get. The easiest thing to do is just to thread my needle. I don't know what I've done. Sorry, I probably can't even see what I've done either. Even though it's a bright sunny day here, I don't get the light in the sunlight. I get the light, but not the shining bright light until late afternoon, early evening around here. In one way it's good because it keeps the room cool, but then it can be quite a cold light that I get. I'm just going to go back to the other side now and turn it upside down, get rid of that one. So just going to go, I'm not going to finish this off while I'm on camera because you can see what I'm doing, going all the way across until I get that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same on this one here as well. So I've got 2 bands of colour. And I should have said before all of that, before you do this one. Anyway, I'm going to do a little pocket and a little, I think that's it, even a little pocket. So you get one of these as well in the kit. I'm just going to grab one. Okay, they come like this. I like to take off the white, but you don't have to. But if you do want to take off the white, then just snip along here. And if you're careful, if you just snip on the white and not the pink, then you won't get anything come undone. So I'm just checking how long we've been going. Quite a long time. So I'm going to kind of move it along a little bit. Okay, so we've took that off, and then you just need to twiddle it, and little pincer grips will take the white bits off as well, and then you're just left with the pink and yellow and white doily like that, which comes like that. So I'm not going to do all that now. And then what you want to do is on this side here is find the right way. There is a right way and a wrong way. Okay, can you see how it's wider there than it is that way? So I'm going to do that. I might even pull it a little bit and pop some pins in. And then, like I did the Suffolk puff, just go round with little stitches and leave the top open so it's got a little pocket. That's what I'm going to do with that one. And then a little pocket on this side. So I'm just going to grab some fabric, and I think I'm going to grab that one so it's matchy with that. And what I'm going to do is, it doesn't have to be a curve like that. I will give you some of that as well in your packs, which I've got here. But if you want a curve, then just fold it in half, take off that corner, like that. There we go. And then with this, I need some white to get it on first. Okay, so I've got that on there. So I'm just going to fold this one over. I think it'll look nice like that. So what I might do is just put a pin in. Then first of all, I'm going to just go over this around the edges. It can be a little bit fiddly because it's so small, but once you get going, it's okay. I'm not sure what we've done there. Right. You might want to use a little bit of doily to do a pretty pocket. You don't have to be too secure because we're going to actually sew it onto the pocket. This is just to kind of keep it all in place. You don't even have to do this, you can just pin it if you wanted to, but I just I prefer to do it like this. It just keeps it a bit easier in place. This is also vintage old stock, so there may be some little marks on it. Okay. Put in a little knot. You're not going to see. Finish it off. And then just snip that off. Don't throw it, you can use it for something else. There'll always be a chance to use a tiny little piece of lacy trim. Right, okay, so you need to decide what colour is that for that? Oh, that's for that, isn't it? Yeah. I'd forgotten about that bit. Okay, so sticking to my needle. Right, so you need to decide what colour. I'm going to use a green. And I'm going to use 2 strands. That's quite tidy actually. Okay, so what I'm going to do first of all is I'm just going to go across here. First of all, in just a running stitch. That's just to hold down that little flap that I made. Little flap there. I'm just going to go over that little bit there. Okay, and then not taking my thread off, I'm just going to flatten that out, pop my pocket on, pin it into place. Okay, and then so I need to go. Okay, with this one here, I went over. I'm just going to start there. I'm just going to take that off for the minute because it's getting in my way. Right, so I'm here, and I'm going to first of all go down the sides in kind of like a back stitch, I suppose. I'm catching all of these little edges on the trim. I'm also catching the pink florally fabric as well. So this will basically secure my pocket to the damask. You don't really need to do anything else. You can actually leave the little frilly bit. Which I think I'm going to with this one. Catch as much as I can there. And then I'm just going to okay. Oh, isn't that cute? So there's your little pocket. So you don't even need anything special really to make pockets. You can just use a little bit of fabric and a little bit of trim. I think that was really sweet. So that's that. So once you've done that and you've done your border here as well, then all you need to do again is whip stitch up the sides. So I'm going to do all that off camera because you've seen everything else that I've done. Once I've done that, I'm going to come back and show you how I piece it together. I'll see you in a little while. Right, so I'm ready to sew up my needle book. I have placed all my pages how I want them in the order that I want them. So that's the front, and then I've got the felt, then there's the handkerchief, and then there's the damask on top. So I've centered them all up to how I want them, and I've kind of just done that. I mean, there's nothing scientific in this. I'm just folding it in half and I can see the crease. That's all that I'm doing. And then I've just got some Pellet cotton. I've doubled it up just so it's a little bit stronger. And I'm just going to go in here, and all I'm doing is a running stitch down the centre. So you can hardly see it at all on that side. Trying to keep it fairly centred. Oops, what have I done there? Oh. I'm collecting them all, aren't I? Keeping my eye on the back as well. I don't think I've sewn my Suffolk puff on quite centrally. I've not centred it quite as much as I probably should have, but we're not looking for perfection here. Sorry, I'm flipping it back and forth, but that's kind of what you just need to do to make sure that you're getting it fairly central. Got something caught there. Like I say, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you don't want it too far off. Is that why I'm pulling? There's a thread right around it. gnat flying around. It couldn't be any easier, really, or any simpler. Just got a loop there. Okay. Okay, then I'm just going to do a couple of loops around, and then I'm just feeding it through in between the layers. There we go. Take the pins out and fold it up. And then what I'm going to do is, this one I've already done. So I'll show you what I've done with this one. So I've just filled it with little bits and bobs. They're both going to be filled up with the same, and these are both going to be for sale as well. So they will be on my Instagram, and it's UK only, sorry about that. So I've got little trims and a vintage needle. There are actually needles in here. I don't know if I would want to use them because they're very tiny and sharp. But yeah, they're still, I mean, that's a full pack there. I don't think that's ever been used. It doesn't look like it's ever been used, that one. I think the other pack that I'm using has been used because it's got threads in it, so there's that. And then the felt. Then I've got some vintage buttons, some vintage lacy bits in that one. That one you've got a little embroidery. Got Suffolk puffs in that one. A couple of Suffolk puffs. That's Suffolk puff and some hexes in that one. Got some little tags here, some letters and numbers in that. Going there. And then we've got an old wool card and some more trim in that one. And over. And then you've got some little linen buttons in there, some more lace, some blue lace in there. So that one's all ready to go. And then to close it, just pop a little bow at the front, like that. And then I've got this one here, so I'm going to fill this one up now. And just the same, it's got virtually the same as the other one has, so there's a little bit of vintage trim here. It's quite French. So that's going to go in there. Can't remember what else went in there. Was it the needles? There's the needles. I'll show you these needles. These have been used, but look at that, they've all been left with all the threads on. I'm not going to take those out because it's just lovely like that. Little keepsake. So that's a little vintage needle set in there. What should we put in that one? Let's put the wool in that one, like that. Got a little pocket here. Let's put a couple of Suffolk puffs in there. Got a couple of hexes in that one. We've got another Suffolk puff and a little embroidery in that one, and some little lace bits in that. I'm probably going to run out of pockets. So I've got another bit of lace here, the blue lace, like that. And what have we got? Oh, the linen buttons. Let's put the linen buttons in there. And then we've just got one more pocket. We've got some more trim here. And let's put the little labels in there as well. And we've just got the button card here, so let's just find somewhere to put the button card. Can it go in there? Probably go in there. Let's peek it out like that. So that one's all done as well. And there, all done. So hopefully by the time this video comes out, these will be up on my Instagram. ready for purchase, and also the kits will be ready for purchase as well if you wanted to make your own. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.